The internet's so weird, Casey.
My internet?
No, the internet. Did
What's wrong
you
with it?
notice that for the first time in my soon-to-be 36 years of life,
You boomer.
the internet on Thanksgiving was giving voice to people that are anti-green bean casserole? Did you see this?
Yes, and I'm proud of it. Good.
No.
Get out of here, green bean casserole.
Are you serious?
I don't touch the stuff. It's gross.
I don't even understand how anyone... I don't think that green bean casserole makes an impact
Podcast
to the point
over. Get out of my house.
that it could possibly be offensive. It's kind of salty. It's got a teensy bit of crunch and is otherwise soup.
Creamy and gross.
I don't understand. I don't eat deviled eggs. How about that?
I don't. I know.
And you know what else?
I hate deviled eggs.
You know what else? I keep my mouth shut about it because deviled eggs be getting a lot of love out in these streets.
Bro, I will die on that hill. I will not let deviled eggs soil my palate.
Well, you were alone in that, but I could not believe these people slandering the green bean casserole. It's fine. It's fine. I mean, we're going to talk about some stuff today. I mean,
We are going to talk about some stuff. But first,
these
Shane has
people
to get on his soapbox.
These people get charged up about any old thing. I think is the moral of the story.
Yeah.
It will be the eulogy of the internet when we're all dead and the robots come. They'll say, "Yeah, those humans.
They hated each other.
They could get charged up about anything on this on these boxes."
They get mad about anything.
Welcome to 40K Fanatics,
They get mad if a dress is gold and white or blue and black.
your podcast for everything about 40K that we like to talk about.
I'm Casey.
I'm Shane, and you can make suggestions for what we talk about because we do be getting tired of thinking. However, the Big E provides,
He does.
and we've got 2 codexes coming out, the details of which have been released. But first, it's time to open the bits box. Casey, tell the people what you've done in the hobby.
Oh boy,
In the past
I have
week.
done quite a bit. For the last couple weeks, I have taken part in the Red Gobbo's quiz game.
You know, I looked at the Red Cabo quiz game because we had talked about it, and I thought, well, that'd be cool, and I didn't know none of those answers, man.
You could have just texted me, and I would have told you. Regardless, they chose 20 people, and I was not one of them, and I was a little upset. But that's fine. If Games Workshop does not want to hit up one of their best content creators, then that is fine. Anyways, yeah, I didn't win it, but they did come up with a new reveal, which is pretty great. The Black Gobbo. Turns out the Red Gobbo was planning on stealing the Christmas gifts, as he does every year, but somebody already beat him to it and nicked the gifts that he was planning to get. He left little clues to lead the Red Gobbo to where he was, and he found out it was his assistant, Gimlet, who stole all the presents before him and decided to call himself the Black Gobbo.
How fiendish of him.
Yeah, and they both now have models. So you got the Red Gobbo surprise, which is pretty cool. He's got his dynamite, he's got his little paintbrush in his sack and stuff. But the Black Gobbo has an Age of Sigmar model and a Space Marine model falling out of his Santa sack while he's riding Bouncer, the squig. So love it.
So that one, what is that one actually called? That model's called something else. I watched a whole video. Shout out to Tactical Tortoise and Tactical Trevi on YouTube and X. That's the place where I go to get all my crunchy rules stuff, which I'm only ever so often into. However,
Grotsmas gifts.
the
Gits.
Grotsmas Gits. Yes. That's the Black Gobbo atop his squig, which has a mouthful of presents. He also has the Bag-O presents, I presumably stolen from the Red Gobbo.
Yep.
And on the box art they painted for that, they even painted the box art on the tiny boxes.
Wait, really?
Yes.
I didn't even see that.
Yes, no, those Games Workshop painters. I mentioned it last podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes they just be out here stunting.
They do, man. They
I
really
mean,
do.
man,
Well, there's a paint pot on the red Gobbo's base.
I'm
just
telling you,
noticed that.
like that is very, very, very tiny stuff.
It is.
Tiny stuff,
That's like epic
guys.
scale stuff.
But his rules are amazing.
I love their rules.
They do all kinds of stuff. They're legends, which I'll be honest, if anybody wants to come play me and they want to bring legend stuff, just come on. I'm not fussed. I'm the sort that wants to play with the woods and the woods rules.
Lots of people die on that hill, if I'm being honest.
On the I'm only going to play match play.
Yes.
GT style.
I'm surprised. Like a lot of people.
It's crazy to me because there's a couple of things, right? I think that
why be exclusive in this nerdy, fun game we have? You know,
I think what you have
I kind of get it, but
I think what you have is not everybody gets a ton of games in.
Fair.
And if you're only going to get a couple games in a month, then I could see you wanting to do, you know, you want to if you're going to play football, you want to play 11 on 11, right? You want to have the coach, you want to have the refs, everything, right?
Yeah.
Tom Brady is not getting out there playing with nobody. I guess he is these days, but I'm old, and that's when I watched football.
You are old.
But I get to play a game a week. And when you're playing a game a week, you run through a lot of the iterations of the Leviathan deck pretty quickly.
You do.
And if you're using the sort of ITC terrain set, then you're going to run through all the permeations of it that makes sense pretty fast. And then I find that there's a whole lot of fun in I'm going to bring a cheesy list and you bring a cheesy list. And in this case, I'm using cheesy as like the coolest stuff you feel like, not necessarily the good stuff. And we'll throw, you know, books and soda cans out for terrain and just see what happens. And usually fun is had.
Yeah.
But continue on your bits box because I hijacked it.
On the other
I
half,
stole it like the Black Gobbo did.
You stole my prezzies. Anyways, on my other half, if you guys want to go check out our socials, I finished painting up Tor Garadon, third captain of the Imperial Fist chapter of Space Marines, and it looks just chef's kiss.
He's your best cape you've ever done.
Yeah, and I'm pretty darn good at capes.
I want to pause the bits box.
How do you? What would that even sound like?
I don't know, but I need you to pause it.
Whoop-bam.
Okay. Tell me about Tor Garadon. I was a big study boy earlier when you showed him to me, and I remembered that Rogel Dorn is their Primarch for the Imperial Fist.
Oh yeah.
Who is deceased, as far as anyone knows.
Yes.
And so, this Tor Garadon guy is it, but he's not a chapter master in the same way that I can't name another chapter master, but the way they are. Where does he come from and why?
Tor Garadon, you know, the Imperial Fist, they don't really have a home planet they recruit from. They just recruit the toughest people they can and then make them tougher and then, you know, make them like a brick wall, endure everything and follow every rule by the letter and do everything to a T except retreat because they're walls. And that's what they do. They build walls. He is... What they say in the chapter is that they say he is the personification of what Dorn stands for. He might be a little autistic. He's flat. He's boring, but he's blunt, to the point. He's a good leader. He's great at tactics and great at construction. He's Bob the Builder.
And he's just a regular old Primaris Space Marine who rose up the ranks, or was he somebody during the Heresy, or what?
No, he is a current modern-day 40K Space Marine, rose up to the ranks when the Primaris upgrade came. He took it, and he is in Gravis armor. Not only Gravis armor, but he has a Relic Power Fist, which I don't know if you've seen, but it is dope, right?
Yeah, it's kind of studded. It's like it's got brass knuckles on his Power Fist.
You have played bolt gun, so you know what a grav gun is.
Oh, yeah.
That is what is mounted on his shoulder.
Neat.
So he shoots a mini black hole gun from his shoulder. And I got to say, the guy is dope. The lore about him is dope. He is, he's just a really good leader, rose up to the ranks. He got where he is based on, skill and achievements. He wasn't given anything, which is very, very on par for Imperial Fists.
I like that he's a character, a named character, that doesn't have some huge history during the heresy.
Yeah, and it's true to what the Imperial Fists are, They don't care about the frivolity. They care about getting the job done and doing it right.
Well, and that kind of makes sense that then to lead them would be the best, theoretically younger Primaris Marine that they happen to have around rather than some old codger
they got this
coming
other guy
along with whatever baggage he's brought from the Fall of Terra.
yeah, and the Imperial Fists are also very big on building because of, Chaos invading Terra, and they were the ones who built everything, so they took that a little personally. That's why they're extra hard on defense and also taking down heretics, because they got to make up for the sins of the past. But wrapping that up, we should probably go to your bits box, right?
Unpause the bits box.
Well, bam.
We're going to have to work on our soundboard. Granted, we do no show prep. I've never asked for the bits box to be paused. But now it's
unless it's a curse word.
Now, that's right. That is a case. However, my bits box, I got my Black Coach based. I'm working on it very slowly. I've spoken before how that entire project has not really sparked a lot of joy, because it doesn't feel like I'm getting anything done.
Yeah, you're kind of grinding through it.
Yeah, I still lack a little bit. I've got one ghost to do. I've got a highlight pass on the entire thing, but it does look like it is crashing through a cemetery, which is cool. You can see the pictures of that on the Whip Wednesday on X at 40K Fanatics on the artist formerly known as Twitter. Now, I've also last night finished building my Winged Demon Prince.
How's it look?
It looks really good. It's
Gosh,
really
so cool.
I really like taking my time building stuff to get it really clean, because I just feel like that you and I really butt heads on this, where if you end up with a really nice paint job but then you spin it around, there's a big chunk of sprue hanging out the back. That bothers me.
I do for characters.
So I trimmed this thing up real nice, and it's a really fun kit. It's a very cut up kit too, though. So
tell me about it. I've got a bunch of Demon Prince bits over here.
Yeah, so this is the new Demon Prince, which is Age of Sigmar and 40K split, and you start building his butt.
What?
And then you attach like half his back, and then you put a hip on.
Oh.
And then that leaves you a big hole, and you've got a neck piece and another back piece.
I hate that.
All right? So you put those pieces on, and now you've got this back with like a half a chest.
Mm.
And then there's one bit till all are one, to unify them all, that slots in to finish off the other half of his chest and right shoulder. And I had to bend the whole thing to get that bit to pop into place.
I hate that.
It was
so
very,
much.
very tight. And I mean, if I had put no glue, it would be fine. Because I'm talking about it. It's not just an internal sort of fit. It sort of goes in and out. So it would sit there. I mean, maybe if you dropped him once he was done, he would come apart. But then once you put his arms on and lock in the shoulders, I think he would stay. Like, it's a glueless part, if you want. And it was weird, because it's just this puzzle piece of a chest and shoulder that you have to slot in, but it's not even clear which way is up. And it's not like a tab and groove kind of fitting. It's just like sloped various directions, and then this whole thing, once it's in place, it just sort of sticks there. And there was a little bit of that all through the kit. I just think that I don't know, maybe the engineering of the stuff because they're like,
I feel you. I feel you.
Well, and I think
The
they're
Stern Guard vets that they came out with are very similarly built that way, and I hate minis that are that complicated to put together. Gosh,
I don't mind it, but that particular part, because it was so tight.
I gotta ask,
Yeah.
how'd your fingernails do?
Oh, fine. No, I've got the building down to a bit of a science.
No
I mean,
spikies got you?
no spikies got me, and I didn't lose any spikies while trimming sprue off nearby spikies. The wings look good. They're very fleshly attached to the back. I toyed around with the idea of painting the wings separate, and then by the time I got him done, I test fitted the wings onto him and thought I'll be able to reach it. And so his next step is prime paint with the airbrush all over the place, and then just a big old green dragon highlight pass on all of his flesh. And then, of course, Black Legion, Black Armor, gold trim.
Gotta love that flesh.
Now, the second part of that is I said he comes with a lot of bits, and he comes with so many bits.
Give me your bits.
You can do him with clawed feet or hoofed feet.
And you chose hoofed, right?
I chose hoofed.
There you go.
You can do him with an axe or a sword. You can do him with an arm high or an arm low. You can do him with no weapons at all and claws. You can do him with 6 different heads.
6?
You've got all 4 marks of chaos.
Yeah.
To make your various flavor of demon prints. And then you've got 2 undivided heads.
Huh.
And then you've got shoulder bits to attach to his naked armor shoulder for 5 or 6 different things, all your chaos marks and everything else.
I think I'd like to see a Demon Prince with just a normal Space Marine helmet on.
That would look silly.
It would look silly.
Because he's quite large. And then I didn't even touch the bits that are the Age of Sigmar armor set, because he has totally different shoulder pads, totally different chest plate, all that. You could feasibly do him without a chest plate if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, you can do that.
Like, why? I don't see any reason you couldn't. So
pretty dope.
It's neat that he had so many options.
Make him like Bellicor if you wanted to.
Yeah, Bellicor is Bellicor. I was surprised that the Demon Prince is way smaller than he seems like he's going to be.
Oh really?
He's very little.
What base size?
Don't know. I think he's on the same size base as Abaddon, just going by stuff that I know I've seen.
Like a 40?
No, he's way bigger than that. It's probably a
60.
Yeah, I guess it'd be a 60.
Ooh, that's pretty chunky. Like a Dreadnought's on a 60.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's big. With the wings, it's really tall.
Yeah,
but his little body and everything is very compact.
He's a shower, not a grower.
Well, like he's the size of like Abaddon or a Hellbrute. Like he's probably 3.5 inches tall.
Okay.
And then,
but he looks cool.
With the wings make it work. I guess for various gameplay reasons, you could do no wings.
Well,
Because I think the one with no wings does some neat stuff. But if I'm going to bring a Demon Prince,
you got to have wings.
You got to have wings,
said
or
the
else.
Same thing last week. You
That's
got to
right.
have wings.
That's right. What are we doing?
Yeah. You want to look like a demon. You got to look the part, man.
You got to. I played Marvel Crisis Protocol again today as we record this.
Oh, yeah?
And found a new way to lose, because I've still yet to win a match of Marvel Crisis Protocol. Playing at the friendly local game store, Gamers Haven. Shout out to them with the homie Lane. Shout out.
Well, that goes to show you should stick to 40K.
I guess so. I'm playing the homie Dallas on Thursday.
Yeah, I was going to mention that.
I'm bringing my Abaddon list.
We're talking about Necrons today, and you're fighting Necrons.
No, he's bringing Grey Knights.
Oh, really?
Silly Grey Knights. Yeah, I think he's bringing baby carriers and other fun stuff.
Nice. Just watch out for Kaldor Drago.
Oh, I don't think Kaldor's coming. I think it's just silliness. Again, it's going to be an example of one of those games where this is not the stuff you should bring.
This is the fun stuff.
It's going to be the stuff that we brought.
It's the cool stuff.
I'm bringing a 10-man shooty squad of legionnaires that.
Oh boy.
I don't know how they're going to work. You know,
Versatility.
well, how am I going to move them? How am I going to hide them? What are they actually going to shoot with their 7 bolt guns or whatever? They do have 2 special weapons in a squad of 10 though. So there's a missile launcher and a Reaper autocannon. So we'll see what happens.
All right. So anything else?
That's all I have.
Okay, shutting the bits box.
Our main topic today
What's our main topic, Shane?
is the 2 new codexes. Woo! Yes. We love to get new rules because it turned out that the indexing was nice for a moment, except getting all the information all at once kind of creates a known formula situation.
Yeah.
Who'd have thought? Games Workshop thought.
Yeah.
That's why they drip feed these things.
Fair. They revealed that they're doing the Necrons Codex and the Adeptus Mechanicus Codex.
And they're in the hands and have been analyzed by a lot of your bigger YouTube channels and content creators. So a lot of my information will come from by way of the Tabletop Tactics guys, who are my favorite. Shout out to them. Recommend their paid subscription where you can get all the battle reports you want and various other videos, such as faction focuses, like what we're going to give you a bit of, because I know some of you come to us for your 40K information. Now, we're not going to give you the super crunchy because that's not what we do here.
Yeah, we're more introductory.
So, I feel like that with these new Codex releases, we have to talk about them because they're the gifts of the Overlord, right? In this case, they are the gifts of the Omnissiah.
Our plastic crack dealer.
Right, Games Workshop. And, as we are tied under the yoke of content, we must do these. However, I think, somewhat positively, that they're going to get a little samey-same.
It's going to be interesting. Because I was wondering how this detachment stuff was going to work.
Yeah, and I think now we've got Space Marines, we've got Tyranids, we've got these 2. So 4 whole codexes are out, unless I'm forgetting somebody.
And they are coming out with limited edition versions of these 2 new codexes.
No, that'll be cool with different art.
And the sides
Classic.
and the letters on the front are going to be foiled, colored. The Necrons will be green, like bright green pages, and the Mars will be dark blood red.
They do like to sell some books. But
That's
anyway,
drip.
But now that we have 4, the formula is clear. They're giving you your index that you've already had.
Yeah.
Which is great, because if it was really good or if you really liked it, you don't have to change anything. You don't have to go out and buy anything to, leverage your army in any direction. Both the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Necrons, which are the 2 that are out, if I buried the lead there, it'll probably be in the title, got a change to their army rule. So the army rule for the Necrons was their reanimation protocols. It's been changed slightly, nerfed just a touch.
Ooh.
And the Adeptus Mechanicus has had a slight buff to their rad bombardment thing, where at the start of every turn, I forget how it works. Honestly, AdMech, do nothing for me. I want to talk about that.
What?
I want to talk about that toward the end.
They're
okay?
kind of cool.
I want to talk about that toward the end. Do not let me forget.
All right.
Most of people's focus, though, is on the Necrons.
Yeah, Necrons,
'Cause Necrons
were very
are neat.
big in 9th. A lot of the combat patrols and boxes that came out, they were all Necrons. So everybody and your mom has Necrons. And if you look on anywhere else where you can buy them that's not from Games Workshop, you can get it for pennies.
Until this book is released.
Well, yeah, until the book is released, and they are the new kid on the block to smack everybody. And King of the Hill, they are going to probably be OP.
Let me give a little public service announcement on a tangent
PSA
here.
from Shane.
PSA from Shane.
Public Shane announcement.
Don't sell your stuff unless you did a terrible job modeling and painting and all that. But if you put any effort at all into your army, hang on to it, because it'll come back around. all these people trying to give their Necrons away on eBay only for this new Codex to come out and then people be interested, at least for a time, in some Necrons. Is like,
Necrons are cool for the people who like them.
yeah, you could have just kept them, is my point. They don't go bad.
Allegedly friends with Sanguinius.
Now, what did we get in the new Necron Codex? So we got in both the AdMech Codex and the Necron Codex, we get our index largely unchanged. There have been slight changes to things like the Necrons move a little faster. There are some interesting interactions that have been added to the AdMech in all of their detachments that help them a bit because they were a little bit dying in mass. But the big thing we got with the various detachments are just what we've been getting, which is different flavors of armies for each one. So, in Necrons and in AdMech, you can have a hacky-slashy detachment.
Yeah.
Which gives all of your stuff that wants to get into melee, makes them extra good in melee. And what they've done, too, is the stratagems that you get and the enhancements tend to affect just those things.
Unit specific?
Well, it's usually like
specific.
It's like keyword specific, sort of.
Oh, okay.
So the Necrons have got, and I can't get out here and name all my Necron units, no way. But the spider dudes with the big choppers.
The destroyers?
No, I think those are the shooty things, aren't they? There's a detachment for that kind of stuff too.
Oh, big tank detachment. Love it.
Yeah, so they've got it. They've got one that's really interesting that I'll save for the last. But what they've got is they've got their regular all around.
Yeah.
They've got a hacky slashy.
Love it.
They've got one for all the what are they called? Cryptech units.
Yes.
Yeah, so all the little spider things and
support.
Yeah, all that. So you can kind of be like, oops, all scarabs or whatever.
Oh, I would love that. That'd be dope. I would love that. Just like a million scarabs.
Yeah, and that's not what it is, but that's what it feels like when it's like you don't actually end up with any of the Necron dudes. You just end up with all their little machines.
Love it.
Which is cool. And they've got another that is sort of their it's their Battle Shock 1. So it does a lot of things with their Necron sorcerer dudes and causes a bunch of battle shock, and that's how that army would work if you're interested in doing that, which is the same as we've seen with the Tyranids, which
kind of a leadership affecting.
Yeah, leadership affecting detachment. And then they went out and gave them a detachment that turns them into Grey Knights.
Tell me about that, Shane.
So what they did is they wanted a way for the oh gosh, what's it called? Why am I blanking? The big old chunky monolith. The big monolith, because
the
big
monolith.
And monolith are synonyms. So the monolith.
Now, everyone, I'm not correcting Shane on a lot of these things because there is a reason, and we'll talk about that at the end of this episode.
Casey doesn't know any Necrons either.
Oh, I know some Necrons, but I love watching you mess up.
Well, the monolith is a thing.
It is.
It's just a big old building. All right?
Big old building.
It's really hard to it has traditionally been really hard to make that big old building make any sense. But what if you could just pick it up and deep strike it all over the table? Oh, and anything close to it. And all sorts of other units all over the board.
Just elites and big chunky things.
Just Grey Knight Necrons, man.
That's awesome.
With their reanimation protocols, and they can reanimate while they're up in the deep strike too.
Now people are gonna be out there hating on it, but it's too fun not to hate. It's too fun for me to hate.
Exactly. It's gonna be so silly. Here's this giant monolith, and it just blinked into my backfield. Guess I'm gonna have to deal with that. It's so fun.
Yeah.
AdMech, very similar type of stuff. They got a hacky slashy group. They got a detachment just for their robots, like their big stompy
I
robots.
love AdMech robots.
They got what did they get? They got hacky slashy. They got a more shooty one.
They got that new Sidonian Skratos, which is the dude on the poles.
Oh yeah, and when then we get into the new units, he's the people say that he's not very great because apparently he comes with the same gun as the infantry guys. Like
It's a normal radium rifle.
it's the whatever their sniper rifle is in a big squad, I think.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, he's kind of weird. So anyway, I spent most of the time on Necrons because those are the ones that I'm most interested in, and I think a lot of people. But again, we end up with a lot of options to play the stuff you want and have a little bit of leverage.
Yeah.
Rather than be so locked into, well, this is the only thing that works in my army.
And if I could comment on these codexes, I am very interested in the fact if these have enough lore. Because recently they've kind of popped out a lot of codexes where they're just... In the old days, codexes had all this fluff and lore on top of the stuff that you used to play. And then 9th edition, it wasn't as fluffy, not as much lore. Very thin codexes with mostly just repeated stuff you could find off the back of a novel cover. And then the rules in the back. And I didn't like that. Artwork was cool, don't get me wrong, but it was old artwork. Why didn't they put new stuff in? So I hope that this new stuff, and they say in the articles that these new codexes come with new art, new lore, a lot of new rules, detachment rules, couple other things, stuff about the combat patrols too.
They've got the points in them too.
Yeah.
Which is really strange because the points are bad almost as soon as a codex drops.
Eldar fans.
I mean, just any of these, because the lead time on printing these things is long, and then they put the points in the back. It's like they almost need a QR code in the back. I mean, I guess though
they do have a QR code in the back.
Well, right,
because when these books release, and a lot of people, I will say, are probably not going to like this. When these books release, all of you who've been using the Warhammer app for these armies will be locked out of those army lists and data sheets, and you will have to scan the QR code in order to access them. So you have to buy the book.
Right, and that's locked out of the index too, which I feel is a bit bad form. I feel like they should let everybody keep the index, and then all those other options should be grayed out, because that would make somebody want to buy.
Yeah, it happened with the Space Marines. I was looking through, trying to kit up a random Space Marine list, and it's like, oh, I can't look at these anymore because there's a new codex now. I get access to everything else on the app, but unfortunately, yeah, there it is. And that's where other things come in, like Battlescribe, but we're not going to talk about that. If all of you who didn't know that, that is where it is going to be happening.
Yeah, I mean, my point with putting the points in the back of the book is that the points get adjusted almost immediately. As soon as the book comes out and it gets any play, we have a points update. That tends to, like, we're now going to be 4 codexes, and we've had 2 codexes.
And then the codex is immediately useless.
Well, it's not. I guess they put it there for the people, and these people do exist. They're probably not listening to our podcast, that do not want the internet, their phone, technology attached to their physical, tactile hobby.
I like to think of it as a kid, like a 10, 12-year-old who's just getting into the hobby. His dad gets him the book, gets him the combat patrol. You know?
I think it's older people though. I think it's people that work regular old jobs.
That's fair.
And they, for whatever reason,
can't adapt to the times.
Well, no, just whatever reason that is their own. Like, they just don't like the drama. They don't like the politics of social media. That sort of person I could see being like, if I want if I want the internet involved in my downtime, I will play a video game.
There you go.
If I'm seeking out this box of plastic that I'm going to, sit quietly in my basement and put together and build and care about and read in the book, of da-da-da, and then play with George, my other friend who is just as strange as I am, I could see them just being like, hey, look, the points are in the back. We'll build them off of there, and that's all we'll do. And good. Because I could see that person being really turned off by flip. Okay, I'm going to play my game. I got my guys built. I got them painted.
Those people do exist.
They exist, and I think they exist in much greater numbers than we appreciate.
I've had to teach a older gentleman within our very own community, when 10th came out, how to get the app, use the app, make an army, and all that stuff, just so he could be in one of our recent tournaments. Boy, was it a chore. But he got there, and I'm proud of him. So, no call out here, no drama, just saying.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we were discussing this a little bit in the local community group chat, and I posed to the group that we were talking about painting specifically, that there are a lot of people that are just grabbing any old paint and a model and trying to put paint on it. They're not looking up any YouTube videos. They're not looking up any how-tos. They're not reading any articles.
They're the real heroes.
They're hardly looking at any pictures. You know what I mean? And you get these people, they may do this for years and then go online and start asking questions, and it's, you don't know what you don't know, but if you...
Because you don't know it.
Right. But... but if you had ever seeked out any information whatsoever as a beginner, then you wouldn't ask the kind of questions that they ask. Like, they'll pop up, you guys are using primer?
Yeah.
And they're like, here's my paint set, and it is the, apple barrel whatever, and or, the who knows what. They're painting with God knows what. And it's like, man, how are you even getting that to stick to the dudes?
And then 5 years later, orc players get on eBay, buy it off them for pennies, and then the stuff comes right off.
Yeah. Swings and roundabouts on the effectiveness of that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But those people exist, and
they do.
and they exist in greater numbers than I think we often appreciate. But I think that Games Workshop putting the points, even though they're outdated by the time you get it, in the back,
it's so that people can, everybody can. Play.
They're looking out for those people, which is also why they're printing up books.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody's buying books in many other instances, especially not the demographic that's playing 40K, which skews much younger than, say, your mystery or thriller novel reader. Anyhow, that's about all I've got on the codexes, but I do have a...
We do have the Codex calendar.
Well, I do. Ooh, tell me about the Codex calendar, because I think my guys are after Tau.
So, the Codex calendar, let me pull that up for you. We have the Adeptus Mechanicus and the Necrons coming up in winter, which is, pretty much this coming month.
I think next week or the week after those will be
it's gonna be
available.
It'll be dope. New models, new codexes, great. And then in spring of 2024, you got My Boys and the Dark Angels coming up first. Probably looks like it's going to be I don't know how they're really doing it. I'm going to guess that these two come out early spring together, like the Necrons and the AdMech are doing.
And you say your
then
boys...
right after, late spring, you're getting Custodes, Tau, and your boys, the Chaos Boys, late spring.
Who are your boys?
The Orcs.
Okay, so you get...
the boys.
So you're getting... Orcs and
Dark Angels.
Dark Angels probably together.
Yes.
That would make sense, because it seems like they're going to keep the Xenos armies very close to some good guy.
Yeah, and they're going to get the line in a Codex. So that's cool.
Yeah, that'll be good. I imagine there'll be all sorts of spicy things to do with multiple Dark Angel detachments.
Ooh. And then you've got the Custodes, Tau, and your Chaos Boys right after, and those three are together.
Really?
Yeah. What is that going to be, like a round robin?
I don't know. What the calendar gets more vague at that point, doesn't it? What are they calling that time frame?
Late. Well, all five of those are in spring, but the first two are on top of each other, and the last 3 are on top of each other. So I'm going to guess early spring for Dark Angels and Orcs, late spring for Adeptus Custodes, Tau, and Chaos. So probably like one's in April, one's at the end of May. The other 3 at the end of May.
That'll be great.
I'm betting. And then we've got the summer releases. Gene Stealer Cult, Adeptus Sororitas, and then one last faction which has been redacted.
I saw that. Is that just because they want everybody to wonder and don't...
I'm very curious.
Buy all the armies. Don't ever not buy all the armies, they say.
I'm going to put my hat in the Grey Knights camp. Where are you putting yours?
I think, you know what? I'm just going to hope for the homie Austin that it's Astra Militarum.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. It's got to be something Imperium-based because it's got a redacted symbol on it. It's got the Aquila on it. And when I think redacted, I'm thinking either Inquisition or I'm thinking Grey Knights.
Well, I mean, Inquisition is not a thing as a faction.
It's not. No, it's
Is it?
not.
Right.
Well, they're kind of doing something weird with it. But yes, they are not a faction.
Yeah, it's not a Codex worth.
Yes. So it could be that, or it could be something so heretical.
You've ran up into a wonderful jumping off point for my point.
Go for your point.
I don't understand why the AdMech is a thing.
What?
I do not think that they are worth an entire faction.
How dare you?
I
You
think
just made a lot of people mad with that statement.
you know what, you 7 people?
7 people.
I'm sorry. But
Oh my gosh.
I don't get it. I don't understand. They're like they're the same as the Necrons with no cool lore,
Well,
and they're robot skeletons
I'm gonna
mostly.
have to do a lore video on them just to get you into them, aren't I?
I mean, I'm into them in that I understand their purpose, right? But I don't understand why they're fielding entire armies in the same way that the whole of the Adeptus Astartes do.
Oh, like they have advanced technology. Weren't they as strong?
Well, no, it feels like in the lore, and tell me if I'm wrong, that they are mainly the caretakers of this technology that the Imperium leverages.
Yes, they are caretakers of all of the weapons, the Titans, the Knights, the guns, the ships. They keep the lights on. Okay. And they own whole planets.
Okay, but then they field entire armies of their own.
Yep, because not only are they, the guys who worship the machine god, but they also have like menials and serfs and servitors that they have lots of that they just field and, run them as disposable fodder.
Here's my 2 cents.
Oh my gosh.
We have no shortage of good guy factions.
I won't stop until I've converted you to the Omnissiah.
We have no shortage of good guy factions, right? We've got... Now, a lot of those are Space Marines, admittedly. But then you've got the Sisters, and the Sisters make sense to me. Like, they feel like their whole own thing, right? I feel like that the AdMech...
Don't know what they're doing.
Should be just pieces of the Astra Militarum and of all the various Space Marines.
Like a support.
Like in the same way that your Archoflagellants and stuff in your sister's army are, other...
Men, but they're different.
Well, they're other stuff,
yes.
right?
Kind of like how a Tech Marine is in a Space Marine unit.
Right.
Or an Inquisitor is in a Guard unit.
Well, yeah, like that. I had another good one. Just like how... Oh, I've lost it.
A Warp Smith is in a Chaos Warband.
No, I mean, the Warp Smith is in power armor and stuff.
Okay.
Kind of like how cultists are in...
There you go.
Are in any old Chaos thing. Oh, I remember how Custodes have the Sisters of Silence.
Ah, there you go.
That's
a good comparison.
That's the good one.
That's a good comparison.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like that the AdMech should be also rans along with all this other stuff because they kind of just help. Like, I understand. Now, I guess it's for sake of variety, right? It's like, well, how else are we going to get some different type stuff? Otherwise, the good guys will just be all these Space Marines. I don't know if I buy that though,
Mm.
because the sisters are good guys and they're in their armor and they have their whole look, which is very Space Marine-y and all this stuff, right? But then the Admech are just kind of strange. If
They're weirdos who replace their body parts with machines. Of course they're weirdos.
you made them, but what I'm saying, if you made them any old Xenos faction for all the Space Marines to fight, then everybody would be like, that's fine.
Oh.
I don't feel like they fit as a standalone army of the Imperium. That's my take.
Okay. So,
I also don't want anything to do with the RC Arc Bone Reapers in Age of Sigmar. I could have something against
join us
Skelly
next
boys.
time. You got anything else? Or?
No.
Okay, yeah. Join us next time on 40K Fanatics as we talk about...
Necrons.
Yeah, we're doing a lore pod on the Necrons.
We're going to learn about the war in heaven and when it happened and all that good stuff. And establish how the Necrons are an order of magnitude cooler than the Adeptus Mechanicus.
Fair. See you.